Hello, this is Dr. Darnese, and I want to welcome you into my lifestyle salon. I am creating a creativity playlist for those of you who also feel yourselves to be creatives and perhaps creative entrepreneurs, meaning you may or may not monetize your creativity. And I really want to stress for us that everything we do does not have to be monetized. We don't have to be on the hustle 24/7, right? So you may be creative because you just enjoy it, right? Your black girl joy. Or you may say, I make art and I sell it. I got an Etsy or I sell it on my website or whatever you do. It's all cool. But what I wanted to come on and say is who told you you couldn't? Like you get to do it however you want to do it. You get to tap into your own creative resources and do whatever you want to do. One good thing about this internet is you see people doing all kinds of things and they become a success at it, right? And you're like, I would never have thought to be on the internet. I don't know, like, yeah, okay, I'll give you a good example. People who do homesteading, they're like making videos of themselves doing canning vegetables, making, things by hand, sewing or whatever, and they become very successful at it. So it's not only just the things that we think of as like, oh, somebody's a singer, a dancer, right? TikTok is full of people doing dances or whatever. It doesn't have to be that. It can be whatever it is you do because who told you you couldn't? Remember, in the words of Sheree from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, check me, boo. Nobody's going to check you. So you get to do whatever you want. Please feel free to plug into whatever that is that gives you your black girl joy. Replenish yourself with what you consider to be your art, your creative outlet. In this season where black women are saying, I really don't want to work so hard. I really want some downtime. Think of your creativity as that which replenishes your soul. So one of the things that I've been doing, because I really have come to understand creativity fuels creativity. Creativity fuels creativity. So even when you're not doing your particular thing, right? Like I have a best friend, she does everything. She is so multi-talented. Always has been. I've known her for 30 years. She cooks, she bakes her own bread, she can make her own pasta, she can paint, she can do upholstery, she can make furniture, she sews, she makes patterns. I mean, limitless, right? Like limitless what all she can do. And so she may be telling me on the phone something that she's doing, and just listening to her and her enthusiasm helps me get back to my own enthusiasm for what I do, right? So sometimes late at night when I'm watching YouTube, watching people who are painting for whatever reason, I've got into watching people and their watercolors or people who are doing like comic book kind of illustrations. I don't have that kind of talent. I'm not going to venture into that really. But I love seeing people do what they do because it reminds me you can just do it for the love of it, for nothing else. This brings these people joy. They're so enthused about it that they make a video and put it on YouTube. I'm like, wow, right? Another example, do y'all remember a singer? His name now is Sananda Maitreya, used to be Terence Trent D'Arby. Terence Trent D'Arby from the 90s. You remember this album, his debut album, The Hardline, according to Terence Trent D'Arby. Wishing Well, remember that song? Well, he changed his name to Sananda Maitreya because he understood himself, continues to understand himself as a creative person who went through a transition of his whole entire being. So I saw an interview he did with Questlove. Questlove interviewed him. The noise on the phone. Questlove interviewed him, and just the way he speaks about his creativity as a performer, as a singer, he said, and it just resonates with me so much. He said, "I guess before I was born, I made a deal with God that I would come to this earth, into this lifetime, and receive the gift, receive it as grace, receive the music." He says, so I have to show up for it. I have to put myself in a position where I can hear it, where I can receive it, so that I can then give it out to others because I agree to that. It is an agreement between me and God. You can look it up. It is an interview between Questlove and Sananda Maitreya. And it's long. It's probably over an hour and a half, but you can listen to it in little chunks. But this is what I mean by creativity fuels creativity, because in listening to how he understands himself now from the time that he had the name Terrence Trent D'Arby, what he was doing as a creative, how he had like an up and a down, and then he recreated himself artistically, and that his spiritual understanding about who he is and what he is here to do in terms of his art is absolutely inspiring to me. I don't know about you, but it is inspiring to me. So that's what I mean by creativity fuels creativity. I can watch other people, I can appreciate what other people do and get inspired. I've been watching these videos about people, ballet dancers. I don't know. What I'm telling you is I'm on YouTube watching a lot of people do creative things, and it really is inspiring me. And so I'm sharing that with you to encourage you to find what inspires you in your creative journey. Because who told you you couldn't? Who gonna check you? Now it is your time to find your joy in something that really brings you joy. We can't be out here giving from an empty cup, giving to everybody because they have need. And yes, other people do have need. And yes, we want to be helpful sometimes, but we cannot give from an empty cup. And so, following our own artistic inclination allows us to fill our cup. Anyway, you deserve to be happy. Do the things that you want, right? So, if you haven't met me before, I'm Dr. Darnese, and I am a life coach. I'm a professor, and I'm also a writer. Those are three of my books back there. And so I'm working on a novel right now. And, I work at it little bit by little bit by little bit. And it's been in my head for a very long time. And I have made a commitment in 2024. I said, I am going to create a raw draft of this book, right? Well, when you know, here it is December 2024, and I did not create the entire thing, right? I didn't get it all out. But here we are going into 2025. And once again, I say, I am going to finish the raw draft of this book. I hope to have the first draft of this book by this time next year. So by December 2025, I intend to have in my hot hands a complete draft of my first novel. Those books there are one is two of them are self-help books. One is an academic book that I wrote for my doctoral dissertation. And so this work of fiction here will be my first novel. And I envision it to be the first in a series. So there's work to be done there, but it brings me joy and happiness to work on it. And so I allow it to be fun, right? Don't create another job for yourself. Don't create a chore. That's why I say you can monetize it or not monetize it. Everything does not have to become a side hustle. This is a season of assessing what we want to do most, right? What do we want to do? What do we want to do, not what we have to do? So if you don't want to side hustle it, just do it for the sheer joy of it. But remember, no one can stop you now, right? No one who gonna check you, boo. Follow your own creative inspiration wherever it may lead you. And I will be back with another video on your creative process.